Wow. Like my mind is still blowing up a little bit about this conversation with Todd. There is so much deep information, and this whole concept of connection and attachment is something that I have not heard of. I mean, it sounds like sort of basic,
Yeah.
but all the components that he goes through are, I'm still swirling a little bit.
Yeah, he explains it so well, and then it's just such a fundamental skill that every parent, like, when you go to Lamaze or whatever, like when you get your parent card, this should be told to you. You should get this. So listen to this because that's really important. And then the other thing is the conversation about raising kids in a digital world and all this stuff. I feel like sometimes I said it the other day, our kids are guinea pigs because this is also new and they're getting hit with it. So he gave some really great advice on how to navigate that. So I think that will be helpful for people.
Yeah,
and trigger warning, we've had some conversations about suicidality and things that kids go through. And so, protect yourself, but know that there are ways to walk through this and to be aware. So listen up.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We are always so grateful when you join us, and today's going to be a great talk. We're talking with Todd Sarner. He's an MFT, a parenting coach, and a psychotherapist with over 2 decades of experience helping families move from daily power struggles to deeper connection and lasting peace at home. He's a former faculty member of the Newfield Institute and a mentee of renowned developmental psychologist Dr. Gordon Newfield. Todd is the creator of the Transformative Parenting Process Intensive, which is a signature coaching program that supports parents in raising emotionally healthy, resilient children. More than anything, his work is about helping kids grow into their greatest potential by strengthening the relationships that matter the most. And so that is so aligned with what we do here at the Warrior Parent Podcast. We're so grateful that you're here today, Todd.
I'm very grateful to be here. I love your mission. I love your vision for what you do. It's very much in alignment with what we do here. And I love your focus on teens and young adults too. I think we all have kids in their 20s, but I started off working with teenagers in group homes and foster care and things like this for many years before I switched over to kind of helping families through transformative parenting.
That's kind of how we got there. That's in the end, it's like, well, if you don't have the whole family, it doesn't really work. You can give people tools, but especially when you're a kid, you're still in the house, you kind of need so much better when everyone's involved.
Yeah. And the message to me is of empowerment of the parent, not blame of the parent.
Yes.
But empowerment of the parent that you are the answer to your children. And it's wonderful to have a village, and it's wonderful to have helpers, and it's wonderful to have a supporting cast. But we don't outsource our parenting. We are the parent. And so even though I started off just wanting to be a therapist for kids, I had somebody, like when my parents split, we all went and saw a counselor for a little while separately, and I loved it. And I went, I want to do that. I want to do that. Nice. And as I became a dad and deeply influenced by Dr. Neufeld and his mentorship when my son was 1 or 2 years old, I went, no, I want to be behind the scenes. I want to help the parent. And so that's what I do in various ways, whether it's individual counseling or couples counseling, or my greatest passion is the parent coaching.
Yes. All right. We are completely aligned, and you are our new best friend. I'm pretty sure.
Awesome. And we're going to have your first 4-hour podcast. Let's go.
Yes. Well, this is just going to be hour one, but
Okay.
we're going to
Okay.
break it up
But
so people can hang with us. Yeah, that
All
we
right.
we'll
already
put them
know
over
you'll
the
be
edge.
back.
But yeah, we could do this all day with you. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I want to
Excellent.
go back to something that you talked about in your training, and that is the Dr. Neufeld training and the attachment theory. So can we start there, and then we'll get into some of the more specific things? But I'm really curious about this training and why it's so important to you.
Yeah, it was equally important to me as a professional who just really wanted to help kids by helping their parents, that developing mission that I was just referring to. But then just as much or more that becoming a dad and having all this training already and experience in my head, but none of it made sense together. I had all these different theories from grad school and developmental class specifically. And when I read Hold On to Your Kids, the book from Dr. Neufeld that came out around the time my son was born, I originally got the Canadian copy. It wasn't available in America yet. Everything was connecting, that kind of experience you have. Sometimes I think of that movie, The Usual Suspects, where at the end, the police officer figures out that he's been being lied to the whole time. And,
Yes.
well, not to use that, that's
The
unlawful.
twist. Yeah.
But
Yes.
opposite of that,
Yeah.
it was like everything was coming together. And it was his explanation of attachment theory and what it's really about. And we can talk about this. I'm sure you have questions about it, but there's so much misperception out there about things like attachment parenting or gentle parenting. You've done some great episodes already. My understanding from developmental science is that attachment is the idea that there's all sorts of variables that lead to a child having good relationships in their life, having stability, having growing into their greatest potential, which is my main concern, as I know it is for you, and how they even behave day to day. There's all sorts of things that we can talk about, socioeconomic factors and things. But attachment theory says, look, the main determinant in how a child develops secure relationship, the main determinant in how they behave every day, and the main determinant of how they grow into their greatest potential is how secure they're meant to feel in their primary relationships growing up.
Wow.
Now, I'm a parent, you're parents, we're talking to parents, your audience here, and boy, does that immediately bring up for a lot of people, oh, I guess I'm messing them up. Oh, I guess I have to be perfect. I get, all these things.
Yeah.
But that's not what the science says. And attachment science doesn't say you must do this activity this many times, this often. That's not what the science says.
Yeah.
Right.
That is something that developed on parenting blogs nowadays and articles and a lot of things that were actually, the agenda was to make mothers feel inadequate or make mothers not work outside the home, all these things.
Yes. Yes.
But the science doesn't say that. The science says if you do things over time that makes the child feel more and more and more secure, so that by the time they go out into the world, they're not a perfectly complete being that's perfect, but they in general have what Mary Ainsworth and John Bowlby called the secure base. That if we all have like a cup of attachment, when we're feeling full of connection, we're good. We listen to those we love, whether it's our mother, our father, or our spouse.
Yeah.
We are easy to deal with. We communicate well. When our cups are empty, we're impossible. We don't listen. We're right.
Yeah.
And attachment is about building this base so that it's not perfect, but that over time, the low is not that low. Does that make sense?
Yes,
I didn't think
that
of
makes
using that.
so much sense.
And that's just, and so attachment science doesn't say it has to be this or it has to be that. It just says, is what you're doing creating secure attachment over time? So to all the parents that think I have to do it perfectly, or I messed up yesterday, or I messed up 3 times Thursday. No, it's kids are born completely insecure. And our hope is that by the time we launch them into the world as viable beings, they're kind of like, they have a secure base. And that takes thousands and thousands and thousands of reps over time.
Yeah.
That when they're feeling not enough, or they're feeling too much, or they're feeling scared, or they're feeling overwhelmed, or they're feeling sick, or whatever, that we respond to them as best we can. You're not too much. You are loved.
And by the way, you're mentioning those developmental years, but that doesn't stop. I mean, my kids are 30, going to be 35. I got all ages. But man, I think it's more important than ever. Right now, there's so much chaos and there's so much confusion in
There's so
this
much.
AI world. I feel like I'm more attached to my kids now than maybe I ever have been, right? Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're really needing their adult parents right now. And
Right. It's just that the relationship changes over time.
Right.
Dr. Neufeld would say, uses the term a lot, alpha parent. And when he says alpha parent, he doesn't mean dictator. He doesn't
Mhm.
mean shut up and do as I say. He
Right.
means that your job is to be the mama bear, the papa bear.
Mhm.
And I'm here for you, and I'm here to take care of
Yeah.
you. And that's my job. That's my role. And
Yeah.
so, in how we deal with connection, I'm going to try to take the lead in how these are like the three phases of the work I do. In the environment and regulation and the culture of our home, I'm going to take the lead. And when it comes to your behavior and responding to it, I'm not going to make you feel shamed. I'm not going to
Yeah.
punish you. I'm going to guide you, and I'm going to take your behavior as, ooh, this is something my child doesn't know how to do yet, but I have to be in the lead. I can't be reacting to you. Now, going to what
Exactly.
you're saying, Debbie, it's when they're 35, you're not the same alpha that you were when they were
Right.
5, right?
although don't push me in a corner or don't hurt my
Maybe.
kids.
Oh,
I'll,
believe
I'll show
me.
up alpha.
Oh,
Yes.
I try to walk on this earth as a very peaceful person, and
Yes.
the time where arise has really come out of
Yes.
me is like
Right.
there's a woman once who yelled at my son in the park for he threw sand accidentally and he didn't know and I tell this story all the time, tell it to you
Yeah.
another time, but I said I was sorry for him. He was 4. He was
Mhm.
scared. And she's like, "Well, are you sorry? Are you?" And ooh, the big Papa Bear came out. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it changes over time, but that we're meant to be in that position. And that is what makes everything possible. So I hope I
Yeah.
answered your question about attachment, but
I
whether
love
it's
it.
parenting, we say, hey, there's all sorts of issues, but the main thing is the attachment has to be
Yeah.
the relationship has to be there, the working on the base has to be there, and everything builds from there.
Right.
When it comes to marriage, which maybe we'll talk about another time, everybody comes to me with the same list of symptoms with their marriage
Yeah.
every time. We're not
Yeah.
communicating. We're
Right.
not intimate. She doesn't get me. The
Yeah.
exact same things, but attachment-based couples counseling says those are all symptoms. The problem
Yeah.
is the underlying bond is not where it's meant to be.
Yeah. It's all
That
about
that
connection, right?
exactly, and that
It's
if you
just
fix
connection.
that, the other things. So just as a way to
Right.
understand, if it's important to us as adults like that,
Of course.
how much more
Yeah.
important it is for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes back to I like what you said about that I don't know exactly how you said it, that when children and babies are insecure. Is that the word you used?
Yeah, they're
Like if
born terribly
yeah, you
insecure.
think
They don't
about
even know
that.
you're going to come back in the room.
Right. So I love watching videos of newborns because I'm just watching them and I'm thinking, what are they thinking? But that's exactly it. They're like, what the hell is going on? I was warm, it was dark, I was comfy, I was safe. And then they're in the world and it's cold and it's bright and there's all this noise. And so that idea that what you have to do is make them feel safe, make them feel, and so going back even to when we were raising kids, the idea of let them cry it out or don't
Mm,
spoil them, like spoil the idea
Ferber.
that you boil an infant, but this is what you were told. And there was all this pressure as a
They're just trying to
parent.
get attention.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, I don't want to spoil my kid. How do I do it right? I just wish I had this bit of knowledge when I had my babies was just all they need from me. The main thing, besides, safety and food and a place to
Yeah.
rest, but is just to feel safe, to know I'm there and that there's I can't do too much of that. And
Absolutely.
that's from like the beginning, but then going on that when they do things like throw sand or hit a kid or because all of this is new and they're learning that the way you respond, how important the way you respond is versus we're always in this, I don't want my kid to be a brat, I don't want it to be that kid, I don't want to be that parent versus what's happening with my child emotionally right now and what do they need from me. That
Right.
just blows my
Right.
mind.
In
But
the
it's so
the
smart.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
the way attachment works, because sometimes people, a couple things that you guys said inspired this in my head, but is sometimes a parent will come to me and go, my child's being too attached. And I have to explain there's no such thing. And
Mm,
it's an important distinction.
Yeah.
You've raised children. Everyone listening, you know this intuitively. What happens when a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-old feels really connected, really full of love and connection? Do they cling?
No, they're
No.
off doing their thing.
They
Like
are
mom's
off.
over there. Yeah,
And
like
that's how attachment works. When kids are
Yeah.
yes.
preoccupied with attachment, or adults are preoccupied with attachment. I have to get my social media hit right now. I have to get
Yes.
the right.
Yes.
That is a vacuum of attachment. That's showing I'm feeling insecure in it. Adults do it, kids do it. And a
Yeah.
lot of the technology stuff these days is kids trying to fill that void. But
Yeah.
when a kid feels genuinely filled with connection and feels loved, which you do through your interactions, through the environment you're creating, through rituals,
Right.
they want to go explore. They want to go create. They want to go
Yeah.
play, right?
Yeah.
Because the tether, and I think Dr. Neufeld is where I originally heard this way of saying it, the tether can get longer because they know you're going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a
Exactly.
fundamental human issue. That if we don't know our attachment's going to be there, we get preoccupied with it, we get anxious with it.
Yeah.
And it has so much to do with topics we can talk about today and in the future: anxiety, suicidality, depression, but also how the technology stuff plays in.
So
Yeah.
we really have been looking for someone to talk about this topic. I keep pinging Marci,
Technology.
like we have
Oh,
to find
Yeah.
someone to talk about
Yeah.
raising emotionally healthy kids in a digital world. And I'm pretty sure every single person who's listening to this needs this 101, conversation about raising
Right.
kids with technology from the time they're little, and and adults, and my husband. Quite frankly, you got to
Yeah.
put the phone down. I'm right here with you, right? So give us some 101. Like what are some tips you're
Oh
giving your
gosh.
families right now?
It's,
I know,
yeah.
huge.
One of the top 2 or 3 questions I get from parents, like in those moments where just those really urgent questions. Number one is always, am I screwing up my child?
Yeah.
It used to be, I almost laughed about it, and it's not funny, but like I used to, like when I was beginning as a therapist 20 something years ago, in grad school and internship and stuff, at the end of a session, it wasn't unusual for a client to say, so do you think I'm crazy? As a parenting coach, you get a lot of, I'm afraid I'm screwing up my child, you know? And I hope what we talked about a few minutes ago about thousands of reps over time, and we can talk about if you make a mistake, you just repair. That's all part of being human. But one of the most common other questions I get is like a Pandora's box question, I call it. My kid is addicted to screens. My kid is addicted to social media. And how do I put it back in the box? And, I guess it's kind of akin in a way. I haven't thought this through, but like to that old proverb, like, what's the best time to plant a tree 10 years ago? Second
Right.
best time to plant the tree today?
Yeah.
The best strategy with technology to you parents that the Pandora's not out of the box yet is to really trust yourself to not introduce it too soon, to wait until you see certain maturity processes in your child that we can discuss
Yeah.
before introducing technology, because technology should be seen as like, after we have dinner, we can have dessert, Technology is not necessary for most things for children. I grew up in Silicon Valley in the 70s, and I didn't have technology because
No.
we didn't have it until the
Right.
first Apple computer was in my neighbor's garage, like when
Right,
I was,
yes.
I don't know, 10, 11, 12, So we grew up without cell phones. We grew up without social media. It's actually not necessary. So if you can see it mostly, I guess this is just my opening thing, and then we can go into deeper, is if Pandora's not out of the box already, don't feel that just because the neighbor's doing it and your kid says that all the other kids
Everybody
are doing
else.
it,
Yeah.
you have to honor your own knowing and your own feeling. And it would be best not to introduce technology to your kid until they show these maturation processes that I'll go back to in a few minutes. But if it's already out of the box, it's just important that you move in the direction of more attachment. I'll tell you, there's so many things that my brain is bursting with right now to tell you, but I was just saying this to a client last night. Most kids, in my experience, would rather play a board game with mom and dad or whoever their parents are or their single mom than play a video game. And a lot of parents don't relate, like that can't be true. But it is true that for the most part, like I said, technology is filling the vacuum of attachment. That some of that is normal. It's just we're not perfect. We can't be everywhere all at once. We can't be a perfect parent all the time. So there's going to be some times where your kid doesn't feel connected. But if we leave that too long, or if we let technology babysit them too long, or if we just, okay, we'll do it because everyone else is doing it, it fills the space where they would have rather connected. So I guess to start off with, I would say don't leave the vacuum for technology to fill. Just like don't leave the vacuum, like Dr. Neufeld's book. One of the main premises was parents are releasing their responsibility as the parents in their children's life. I didn't say that correctly, but they're kind of turning kids over to their peers. You know, like, okay. And that doesn't mean your kids can't have friends. It just means that when you leave a vacuum, it gets filled with peers or social media or both now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and isn't that tricky though? Because essentially that's what you want your kids to do, right? You want them to go out and have friends and do all the things. But now there's this other like component, right? Like, you know, when I was hanging out with my friends, it's like, oh, well, she had horses and she's probably gonna get kicked off a horse or something, right? Like that was what you worried about. Like, but now it's like, okay, well, we don't know what that kid is allowed to do with their phone, or maybe they've picked up porn, or who knows what can happen with that
I get a call.
device.
I probably get a call once a month from a terrified parent because their kid has been exposed to pornography on a phone. Sometimes it's dad's phone, and sometimes it's a kid at school. But I guess to address what you're saying, Debbie, sometimes it's a matter of order. You know, order of things. Like the process I'm explaining to you that I work with parents through is attachment first, regulation and environment second, responses to behavior third, in that order. So yeah, we want our kids to have friends, obviously, yes, but there's an order to it. And the order to it is meant to be kids have good, strong attachment relationships with their parents and other adults that are in our village. From that, they become secure. From security, they can make good friends. But that's the order. And too often we're just going, okay, just go and be friends with people, go out and they don't, you know, sometimes a 5-year-old boy who's otherwise in okay, you know, place is very drawn to that 5-year-old kid in their kindergarten who's causing all sorts of trouble.
Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Cour Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Cour Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's
lifetime. Right. Buy it once and we'll keep updating it too.
Yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Cour Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it.
Right? And I have every bit of care and concern for that kid. It's not about making him bad or something.
Right.
I'm just saying that a kid is like fascinated with it and then he wants to, right? Where I saw my role as a parent was, oh, my kid kind of gets along with that kid. They play well together. I like his parents. We get along with the parents and they, let's make this work more. Let's make them have let's let them have right? But we were kind of the ones leading the process. And then sometime over time, my kid would just make really awesome, great friends on his own. But he wasn't doing it out of that same kind of 5-year-old, you know, moth to a flame dynamic. It was a secure person seeking a secure person-ish. You know what I mean? And that's what we're supposed to do as adults too. We don't come to our partners as perfectly done, you know, things. But hopefully we come as secure as we can and they come as secure as they can, right? And that's it with friendship. Yes, have friends, but it's the parents kind of helping it along and building village and community. And one of the most important things, I know I'm going on, but is my son went to a school where technology wasn't really allowed until 8th grade. And then in high school, they could have phones. But even then, they stayed in the locker. But I just found, and I've found with parents over time, just find your community of 4 or 5 families that all don't want to do technology, and then you're covered. You don't need, right? Because then I can send my kid to Marci's house or to Debbie's house, and I just know they're going to play out by the creek. You know, they're going to, like we did when I was little in San Jose. We went and played in the houses being built around our community and by the creek and at Quicksilver State Park and all these things and that's what kids naturally do.
Yeah. This is what it feels like. It's just so fundamental that this first thing is the attachment, is the building that safe space and building that feeling within your child that they're safe and that it's okay and that it all starts there, and just knowing that when you go out with that and that you're different. You're not, like you said, moth to a flame, seeking things, afraid, you're in this well-regulated, and that's the thing we talk about a lot is, but it lines right up. Like if a kid is dysregulated, if a person is dysregulated, that's not the time to teach or to have a conversation. They have to get regulated first. But this is the same thing. It's like a regulated body. It's like this is who you are. You've built these skills, you feel safe, you feel secure, and then everything that you go to is coming from a higher place, a more secure place. And it's not about the details of it. Did you learn this? Did you do that? It's this, like, who are you? And now you're going to be able to handle whatever it is better.
Absolutely. And that's one of the important, and I've listened to you talk about regulation before. I know how much it's part of your vision.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit before we started recording, but part of my message is the hidden ingredient that you don't always know is attachment.
Yeah.
You probably know, you've heard, but married couples, their nervous systems combine. I'm not thinking of the word I usually use, but they kind of merge. And it's true of
energies. Your energies are merged.
Yes. And for so long, I know energy work is, you guys talk about it, but for so long they talked about it as energy work and this, and true. I'm all about that. But now we also know, hey, but it's also the nervous system. They wired together is what I was looking for. And the nervous system and parents and children wired together.
Yes.
And so on the one hand, when we're talking about regulation, it's like the fact that I am attached to you, but more importantly, the fact that you, child, feel attached to me is what gives me also the power to regulate you.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to seek regulation from whom I'm attached to. So when we get married, we have love relationships, that becomes the person we're now seeking regulation from, right? Where maybe the whole beginning of my life, and Stan Tatkin, who's one of my dear friends and mentors, he's one of the best couples counselors in the world. He's written a bunch of books. He talks about this so much, about attachment and regulation. And so one, as a parent, I need to be regulated. And then if my child is attached to me and I'm regulated, I now have so much power to regulate that child. But conversely, without going to the I'm a screw up parent thing, conversely, if I'm dysregulated, my kid's going to be dysregulated. And then I'm going to get frustrated with my kid for being dysregulated. And the truth is that I'm the alpha who's meant to keep them regulated. And then just to keep with the theme, technology tends to dysregulate.
Yes.
Okay. And it's just for all the things, you probably know The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. All sorts of really good information in here about the numbers on child depression and suicide and harming and anxiety that has skyrocketed. But kids actually will often seek technology as a regulator, that it becomes a known state. Okay. But it actually spikes serotonin levels. And then we become dysregulated, and then everything else seems boring to me. And I've sometimes over time hesitated to make this comparison, but it really functions on the same pathways as cocaine does, is that it really spikes your serotonin levels. And then mom and dad, one of my parents goes, let's go for a walk in nature. And they go, it's It's boring
Yeah.
because my serotonin has been reset up here. And
Yeah.
so on the one hand, attachment and being alpha and keeping my child in a taken care of position, also helping them have friendships, creating community, having regulation over here. But over here with the technology, it becomes fractured. It becomes kids relating to kids rather than adults relating to kids. And
Yeah.
all sorts of other problems come from that, you know?
Mhm.
And so that's the big picture that I like communicating to parents. And I'm not sure how effectively I'm doing it today, but is that so
No.
often
You're killing it.
parenting can seem like whack-a-mole, right?
Yeah.
It's like this
Yeah.
thing's happening. Okay, let me read a book, do a thing
Yeah.
for okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is okay, let me do
Yeah.
something for that.
Yeah.
But that's a nonstop game of reaction
Yeah.
where if you
Right.
see it's about building a culture of attachment, building
Yeah.
knowing and predictability, and building up an idea of a relationship friendly, developmentally safe responses to behavior, and
Yeah.
how, okay, I know that now. So how does technology fit in with that? Is it helping or hurting that? Right. And then you go, okay,
Mhm.
it doesn't check this box or this. Okay.
None of the
So
boxes.
that,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yes.
Right.
the
Yes.
idea there is
Yeah.
like, it's important that parents get the roadmap, that they see the
Yeah.
big picture. And that's why I'm eternally
Yes.
grateful to Dr. Neufeld and his work all that time ago, learning from him, because as a dad, boy, was it valuable,
Yeah.
not to mention
Wow.
professionally.
Wow. My mind is like blowing up right now.
Yeah.
Like this is, Marci and I,
Can you
we
tell I like talking about this stuff?
yes, and we have so much more to
Absolutely.
talk to you about, and I'm afraid we're running out of time.
Oh my
But
gosh, we are.
I know I
Can
could talk
I,
to you for
do you,
days.
do you mind if I
Yeah,
just mention the maturity processes really quick, since I said I
go
would,
for it.
and I'll
Oh,
do it really
yes,
Yeah,
quickly?
please
yeah, go,
do.
go, go.
Please
So
do.
this
Yes, go,
comes
go, go.
directly from Neufeld. Maybe I'll see about if I can provide you guys something for your listeners to look at. But Neufeld uses the developmental construct a lot of a plant or a tree to describe.
Mhm.
I have it here from writing it out for a client earlier.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Just to give an idea, this is based on Neufeld, that maturity processes are the tree, and there's three
mhm.
branches, and then attachments are the root. And the
Mm,
simplified understanding of parenting that Neufeld teaches is your job is the roots. Your
yeah.
job as a parent is the gardener. Your job
Mm.
is not a sculptor. And he did a talk named that when I was an intern of his, and it just blew my mind that our job
Yes.
is not a sculptor bending and shaping the branches of our
Yes.
children. Our job is like a gardener. Enable the
Yeah.
deep roots of attachment to deepen, that they can feel more and more safe over time with the different social emotional ways of connecting to another human being. I have some videos on that, I think, that I'll provide you. But the maturity processes are, just very quickly, because I promise,
Mhm.
Yeah.
emergent energy. A child learns to, children are born this way, guys. It's just, unfortunately, it gets driven out of them sometimes, that
Mm,
I want to learn, I want to explore, I want to play. I remember before I was a dad, I would buy really expensive, well rated 20 award toys for my nephews.
yeah.
And what would they play with? The box.
Box.
Bugs,
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Because it wasn't just a box, it was a spaceship, it was a tree
Yeah.
house, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's emergent energy, and kids are born with it. They
Mhm.
Mhm.
need it to be good learners. They need it to not get bored with themselves. They need it to
Uh-huh.
be imaginative. My
Yeah.
good friend Kim John Payne, his daughters would come to him, wrote Simplicity Parenting and so many great books. And I've met his daughters, they're wonderful, but they would say, "Dad, we're bored." And he'd go, "Oh my." And that's it. And
Yes.
they'd get mad at him, but then they'd figure out something to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Integrative energy. Kids don't have that until they're 5, 6, 7 years old. Jean Piaget talks about it, Rudolf Steiner, that up until 5, 6, 7 years old, they don't have a prefrontal cortex. They can't
Mm,
mix things.
Yep.
Okay. And
yeah.
so important to so many topics. But once that's there, when they're 5, 6, 7, they also need some help supporting that. On the one hand, this, on the one hand, that. It's a big part of maturity we want to
Oh,
see kids have. Does that make enough sense, that one?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then adaptive energy. And adaptive energy is we all get full of frustration
Mhm.
and we need to release it. And the most common way people release it is they fight it, they go through those stages of grief, whether it's a little thing or a big thing,
Yeah.
and then they cry and they accept it and they release it. And then how do you feel?
Amazing.
Just, yeah. Just
Amazing, clear. You
relief.
come up with new
Yes.
ideas.
Yeah.
It's one of my great concerns that kids aren't building that muscle.
Yeah.
And that muscle is developed by someone they're attached to, again, the master key, who, when they notice they're getting frustrated, says no, holds the no, but is compassionate about it.
Yeah.
I want a cookie for dinner. That's all I want. No. But I want it, and it's going to make me everything better. I love you. I know you're frustrated, but no. And by holding those energies of what Neufeld calls, the agent of futility and the angel of comfort, I can help you feel your feelings and release them and feel better.
Yes.
So just my last point about technology is I wanted to refer back to those maturities. Too often we say a kid's mature or not mature. And that's usually kind of BS. Sorry, but there's no such thing as a 5-year-old who's mature. And I hear people say that all the time. They might act a little bit more mature, but they're by definition not mature. What Neufeld helped us understand is these are the elements of maturity. And does technology help my child attach better? No. Does technology help my child become emergent? No. If my child is emergent already, technology can be great. Do you get the difference?
Yep.
Yeah.
If my child doesn't know how to solve problems and think through things, technology just keeps him from doing that. TV keeps him from doing that. I'm just watching other people solve problems. But if I already know how to solve problems, then I might use technology as a tool, not as an attachment thing, right? Same with adaptive energy. Am I feeling feelings inside that I can't tolerate? Do I engage with another human being and get them out? Or do I just go on screens and numb out, right?
Right.
I walk into my favorite brewery sometimes, guys, here in Santa Rosa, and everybody at the bar is on their screen sometimes.
Yes. They're not even feeling the nice buzz they get from the beer.
Right. But there's also somebody next to you that's probably really nice, and you could talk to them and have fun, and
I know.
but I'm not saying I haven't done it. So
no, it's easy to do. It's it's meant to pull you in, and they're good at doing that. So you have to be mindful about saying, let me talk to someone.
Yeah. So integrative energy, adaptive energy, and emergent energy. If I see my kid and I go, hey, they're securely attached. Hey, they are a good thinker and they can be creative. And that's not even a question. Hey, they're dealing with their emotions and they can cry and they can release their feelings. Hey, they can weigh things out. Now, maybe I introduce some technology, right? But it's not until I see those things because it gets in the way. So much more that we could talk about that. But I wanted to fulfill my promise that I said I would talk about those maturities.
That's great.
Wow. I need like another cup of coffee because that was amazing.
Well, I'm coming back tomorrow because it's good for my ego.
I'm processing like crazy. I wanted to just say something upon closing, but Marci and I love Marianne Williamson, and I know you mentioned her, and that I don't know if this is the mission for your company, but you essentially say that saving our world through the transformation of the way we raise our children. I think that's what we're all here to do.
It was one of those things that still gives me goosebumps.
Yes.
That I promise you both, I wasn't aware of that quote when I named my practice Transformative Parenting 22 years ago. And then I found it already knowing Marianne Williamson and Course in Miracles and all these things. I knew those things. I'm not conscious of hearing that. And then I saw that quote. I'm like, oh, there it is. Yeah, that there's no single effort more radical in its potential for transforming the world than changing the way we parent our children, paraphrasing.
Yes.
And absolutely. And that's why I so appreciate what you're doing and your mission and your voices and the conversations you're having with people. It's just, we need to just keep lighting the candles. Nobody can do it alone. And so it's just really an honor for me to be here and share time with you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you so much.
He's going to be back, folks. He's going to be back.
I'll be back.
You heard it here. That's binding. That's legally binding.
Yes.
I'll sign something. But thanks for having me.
Yeah. And Marci will have all of your information in the show notes. So how to contact you, how to reach you if they want to work with you. We'll put all that in the show notes so everyone can find you.
Look forward to talking to more people in your community.
Yes. Hey, warrior moms. As we started this podcast, we had determined that part of what we were going to do is to create a community. So we have decided to take it to another level, and we have started our own Facebook community in addition to the Warrior Parent podcast, and it's called
From Chaos to Calm, a sanctuary for moms. Here's what it looks like. It's on Facebook right now. Please go and join it. And just to let you know, we're going to create our Blue Sky accounts right now. We're getting prepared as we watch this weird stuff go on in America. So we may be shifting the whole group to Blue Sky. Just be aware that we got you. You're going to start here. If this turns out to be not a safe place anymore on Facebook, then we will shift over. But what we're creating is a safe space where moms can show up and get information, get support, talk to each other about the things you're going through with your kids, the things you went through with your kids, maybe get some advice from moms, but also other experts. We're going to invite all of our guests and experts to join the group. I hope you will too. This is a place where you can show up and be seen and be heard and be safe. Mom's got you.
Nobody trusts anyone more than moms. So let's do this.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today's journaling prompt is a good one, and it is, I am so grateful for. Gratitude is a practice that will magnetize that which we want and bring more of it to us. So take out your journal, take out a piece of paper, use your phone, and write these words, I am so grateful for, and then just start filling in all the things you're grateful for. Keep writing, keep letting it come through. Enjoy your journaling.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Core Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.